Serena Batista, welcome to Wellish. I'm so excited you're here.
I'm excited.
Yay!
Peeling back the onion.
Yeah, peeling back the onion early. Amen. Walk us through a little day in the life of Serena Batista.
Let's go with my gym days because those are like the fun days.
All right.
So right now I only go to the gym twice a week for like gut health stuff. But Mondays, let's just say for instance, I wake up around 7:30, sometimes 8, depending. I'm trying to wake up around 6:37. I've been doing yoga.
Same.
Yeah.
I've also been waking up at 6:37 and doing yoga. We're the same.
I love it. Yeah, I've been trying to just do more yoga, like 10-minute stretch, get my body moving in the morning, especially on the days where I don't work out. It's like I need to do something. I can only go for so many walks in my neighborhood.
Amen. That is literally me. I swear to God. I stopped working out so much because I just like wasn't in the right headspace. So yoga was it. And then I was like, all right, I'm going to go on walks. Which doesn't really happen all the time, but yoga does. So fuck it. That's what we're doing.
So I've been doing that, and I've been like adopting the slow morning. So just like being present in the morning. So I'm not trying to rush, like, you know, whatever I get done, I'm going to get it done. Like, it's fine. If I don't get it done, it's not the end of the world.
Preaching to the choir.
Yes. We put so much stress on ourselves to get so much done in a day, and it's so unrealistic.
Yes.
Especially as females.
Completely. As females, for sure. And also just, I feel like both of us being people who are more overachievers, like we're people that have these goals in life and we're like, fuck, like I'm going to pile everything into as fast as I can. And it just, it stresses you out. So I like the idea of slow morning.
So, you know. So then what do I do next? I usually eat my breakfast, usually like overnight oats, chia seed pudding, whatever. Go to the gym. I'm at the gym for like an hour and a half, sometimes 2, depending on how slow I want to take it, but usually an hour and a half because on Monday mornings I have meetings. I have a meeting at 10 a.m. for work, so I'm an online fitness coach. So it's super fun, super rewarding. And then depending on if I have any new clients to bring on, I'll have like onboarding calls through the afternoons, just like introduction kind of stuff. But if not, I usually eat lunch, like, what am I trying to say? I lost my train of thought. This happens all the time.
Again, preaching to the fucking choir.
Yeah.
I tried to do a live yesterday and I was like, I can't do this because I literally like lose my train of thought every 4 seconds.
No, literally, I'm like, so me and my boss / friend, we do podcasts too every Wednesday. And
what's the podcast called?
It's called Dream Body Playbook.
Check it out. Where can you check it out?
It can be on Apple Podcasts, Spotify. What's the other? Anchor, right? And then there's like one other one it's probably on, but it's on like all the streaming platforms.
Sweet.
So we'll be talking and I'll be like saying something and it's like important and I'm like, oh, I forgot my train of thought. Like my mind is like a million miles a minute. Okay, rewind. Back to the onboarding calls. Then I go for a walk. Then I eat my lunch. Then I like whatever I'm feeling, maybe make some content. And then I have a group call at 5 and then I'm chilling for the rest of the night.
So you're working 100% online, right?
Oh, yeah.
What kind of got you to that point? Did you ever work more of a 9-to-5 job or have you always been like, I know you were serving, bartending. So was it just that and then online for you?
Kind of. Like I knew I always wanted to transition online just so I could have the freedom and flexibility of like traveling because it's like my main goal in my life is to like travel the world. Like I don't care about anything else. I just want to see every country.
And I know you've seen a lot. So how many have you been to?
10, I think 11. I could be wrong. It's somewhere around 10 or 11.
That is literally so impressive.
Yeah, and I'm only 25, so I've got like, how many countries are there in the world? Like 367. So I've got a lot to go.
She's like, I actually know the exact number. I'm going to tell it to you now.
Well, okay, it's so silly. When I used to work at 9 to 5, it was more like 8 to 4 in college. I had 2 computer screens and I would get like everything done. Like I would just be like, well, I'm done with stuff. So what am I gonna do for the rest of the day? So one computer screen had my work on it and the other computer screen either had like coursework, homework, whatever, writing papers. Like I was doing all of that at work, getting paid for it. And if I didn't have any of that stuff to do, I would go on and I would like find quizzes to complete. Like one quiz was like, name all the countries in the world. Like,
oh my God, I used to do those. I did those when I was a kid. My library had those. They were fun.
Yeah, I'm like trying to guess every freaking country. My favorite is okay, I'm a big Drake fan. Like, love him to death. And so one at the time was like, name every single song of Drake's discography. And so I would sit there and list every single song on every album, like chronological order.
I got this shit.
I'm like, yes.
When I meet him one day, he's going to know that I know everything.
I'm the biggest fan. Okay, like, I know.
That's awesome. Okay, so what do you wish, you said, because you do health and fitness, obviously. Mm-hmm. So what would you say is one thing you wish people knew about health and wellness?
That's a good question. I did not have an answer prepared.
Good.
What's one thing I wish people knew? How much work you have to put in to reap the reward, but not in a, like, this is not in a negative way, like not a bad way. It's like, if you do the work, you will see the reward. It's like 100% guaranteed, like 100% return on your investment, basically. And I feel like a lot of people sometimes are scared to do the work, or maybe they don't know how to do the work.
And that's why they call you.
Yeah, that's why you just gotta reach out for help, you know?
Right. I like that. I feel like that almost correlates. That's what I think is so cool about fitness, is that I feel it really correlates to just like life. That if you put the work in, you're most likely going to get the results, unless, of course, it's not something that's meant for you. Maybe you're going to be redirected at some point.
Yeah.
But for the most part, if you put the work in for something you really want, you're going to get the results, which totally correlates to fitness. And I think that people like you say, just like don't put the work in that they actually should. Most of the time I feel like it is because they don't know how, or they just want to live a life full of alcohol and good food and don't want to give it up.
Another point. I'm going to add on to it.
Please.
Okay.
Yeah.
I feel like people don't realize how much fitness correlates to your actual like day-to-day life. And it's like, pretty sure, like, I don't know the actual percentages, but I feel like once people start getting into like the fitness world, fitness life, they love it, and it's like their life now. Right? And their whole life is just like changed, and they're so much happier and healthier and confident, obviously, because a lot of it is to do with looks, but it's a lot on the inside too.
I agree. I think that because you are setting out to do something for yourself, and obviously like there are physical like benefits to it, like not even just like what you look like, I just mean like how well your heart works and all of that kind of stuff, that obviously you're gonna feel better because you do it, and then you feel more confident because you did. So exactly. I agree for sure. What is your long-term goal for yourself? Like, where do you see yourself ending up eventually? What do you want your life to look like? All of that good stuff.
Well, I told you before, when I travel the world, so it's like number one on my bucket list. I want to own my own business in some way, shape, or form. I don't know yet like what I want it to be. I am starting to like dabble more in content creation, like seriously full time. So it might be something along those lines, or I've been really into like digital marketing and stuff like that. So it might be like a digital marketing agency, or like social media management agency. Although like I do love fitness coaching, things along those lines. But I love my job. I love my boss. So I'm not going to like try to start my own fitness business because I'm already working for an amazing one. So why don't I just start something else on the side?
Right. I think that the way you do it is really cool too, just because you don't have to put all the blood, sweat, and tears into it, but you still like reap all the repercussions. Not that you don't put blood, sweat, and tears into it, but you don't have to worry about all the back work. You can just show up and do what you're actually, not that you're not good at those things, do what you're really good at. Because from the little bit that I heard when we sat there, it's like, you know what you're talking about and talking to all these clients and stuff like that. And I feel like you're wasting energy on something that maybe your strengths aren't in a lot of the time, not you specifically, but people in general, because they're trying to create something that maybe it's not the biggest picture thing that they're trying to create. They're good at the nitty gritty of it, like you are, it seems.
Yeah, that exactly. And I was thinking about that too, because I'm like, before I had started with her, like I was like working for another coach, and I was like, okay, like I want my own business so bad. Like I want my own coaching business. I've tried, like I've had a business coach before, like stuff like that, and it just for me wasn't panning out at the time. And I feel like for me, I'm good at like talking to people, building the relationship, communicating the information in a way that they can understand it. But when it comes to like the organization and the analytics and the data and the sales and all of that fun stuff, like granted, I mean, I'm always like up for a challenge, and I'm working on like upselling and reselling like sales now. So it's a little bit easier. It's like, you know, a lobby thing to you, but like the actual like hard sell, like I just am not, like, I don't know.
I relate to that.
So I'm like, I'm good at this part of it, like the other part, like, so it's like kind of like a perfect balance for me.
For sure. So give me some of what you would consider small wins or things that you do consistently that make you feel you are successfully getting yourself to your dream life, let's say, or just to that place that you want to eventually end up.
Well, obviously a big part of my life is like fitness and health, so always have to make sure I'm on top of that stuff. Protein, water, steps, gym, all that good stuff. As far as like consistency with other things, like as I'm doing the content stuff, so I've been trying to be more consistent on posting on TikTok. Networking has been like a big thing for me this year. It's just networking with more people in the online space, but also like here in Charlotte. So that's kind of like what I'm focusing on right now to kind of get me to where I need to go in the long run. And then obviously always just being open to learning new things and studying and making sure like, okay, I know what I'm doing and what steps I need to take to get to the right direction.
That's awesome. Those are all really good things. I also feel like you still make traveling a priority, which leads to your world-renowned traveler goal, too.
Yes, I do. And so right now, actually, so I'm working on like a debt-free journey, too.
Ooh.
So I'm living with my grandparents. Yay. It took me a long time to be able to be comfortable with that. Like my ego was not letting me, like,
interesting.
Did not want me to move in with them. Like it's just like, oh.
Especially from going from living on your own to having to go back to not almost relying on them to have a roof over your head. You're like, fuck.
Yeah.
I moved back to my mom's for a little bit, so I relate. You're just like, damn it.
Yeah,
how did I get here?
Next time.
Right.
So that, but I'm still like, a lot of my family's in New York, and unfortunately I'm gonna have to go back there a lot this year. When my uncle's having a baby, my brother's getting married, like, so a little travel like with that, but oh man, I'm just gonna say it. So I had this idea. I've been learning how to pitch to Airbnbs for UGC content.
Oh wow.
So it's like you pitch them to have a free stay in exchange for content in order to help like grow their Airbnb business and get more bookings. And you can also do the same thing with hotels.
That is so smart.
So I'm really learning how to do that, because then if I can get a free stay, I guess all I need to pay for is my transportation.
Right. That's smart as fuck.
Yeah. And then eventually, like I've read some stories of some people who've been really talented and like been doing this for a while, and like they'll like get a free stay, but they'll also get compensated on top of it as well. Mm-hmm. So
I feel like there's a way to do everything. Like
1,000%.
I follow those TikToks or just Pinterest boards and stuff like that of people talking about like travel to Bali for $1 a day or whatever. Yeah. All of that kind of stuff.
Like, I want to do that.
I know, right? Like I got to figure that out. I just feel like it takes like a lot of work and a lot of research to fucking figure it out. But once you do, you know, it's like there's a way to do it. I feel like people are just lazy.
Exactly. You know? Or I feel like it's a lot of times it's like not thinking out of the box a little bit.
Yes, I agree. I think it's like not shit, what was I gonna say? See, look, now I'm doing it. Now I lost my train of thought. Fuck.
Damn it.
Here's what I was gonna say. I feel like a lot of the times people just expect for it to fall into their lap, that they expect that like one day they'll be able to travel. And
preach.
So, yes. And so I think that that's what's so cool about you, is that you're like, well, I just want to do it, so I'm gonna figure out how to do it now, whether it puts you in debt or it doesn't. You're like, fuck it. I could die tomorrow. I want to be able to have a massage on the fucking beach in Greece like you did. That's crazy. That's so cool. So I like that mentality for sure.
Oh, thanks.
So what do you define success as for you individually?
Like, what is my definition of it? Or what
what to you, like, what does success mean to you? What would it mean to you to succeed? Like, when do you feel like you'll have reached success?
That's good. Okay, for me, I feel like it's more of a feeling and not a place. Like, I feel like a lot of times we as society, humans, whatever you want to call it, we attach like success to a certain like house, car, money, job, kids, family, travel, whatever it is. And I feel like we're chasing and running and, you know, running in this race to try to get there. And then I feel like a lot of the times when people get there, they don't they're just not happy like they thought they were going to be, or then they feel like they want more. So then they're again it's just like we keep, we have the bar in front of us, and then we like almost get to the bar, and then we just extend the bar out farther. Like, I don't get it. I mean, I guess, yeah, a challenge, but like,
you can want more, obviously.
Yeah.
But like, you can't throw away everything. You can't substitute your life that you are living now for that eventual dream that you hopefully one day achieve.
Exactly.
I agree with you.
And I think the devil really is in the details, because it's like, if you're working at where you want to go every single day, like we said about fitness, you're like pretty much 100% guaranteed to get there. I mean, there might be some road bumps along the way. Sometimes you might not be able to give 100%, might have to be 50%, whatever. But consistency really like does take you farther. And so for me, like initially thinking about the question, I wanted to say, oh, like when I'm debt free, or like, oh, when I've been to da place. But it's like, again, but what happens once I get there?
I love that.
Like, what am I gonna feel like how am I gonna feel when I get there? Of course, I'm gonna be overjoyed, but I feel like for me, I'm gonna be like, okay, like what's next? Like, you know, now that I'm debt free, like what else am I gonna like?
I think that as humans too, we like always want to level up. So like until you're dead, you're always gonna kind of be like, okay, well, I know that I'm capable of achieving that goal that I just accomplished. So how can I make that even better and do the next thing? Yeah. Which there's nothing wrong with that,
right?
So I think that that's a good thing to point out, that that's just the way it is. So sweet.
And there's nothing wrong with wanting to do better and be better, right? But it's like we just need to practice more gratitude for what we have.
Yes,
if that makes
for
sense.
Sure. What is a question you often find you are asking yourself?
This is a good question. Who do I want to be? I feel like I've battled a lot with not being two separate people, and I'm doing air quotes if you can't see it, but I feel like there's like this past version of me, and then there's like this new version of me, and you know, everyone falls into bad habits, and you know, has bad habits and does whatever kind of things. College experience for people right there in itself. So it's like I feel like as you're moving into adulthood and you're growing and you're finding yourself, it's like sometimes you get a little stuck. Like trying to fight off the bad habits to continue to adopt the new ones.
And I like what you say, too, about the old version of you, because I think that a lot of us get stuck in the old version of you from, like, high school and being trapped in a building with all of these people that you're, quote, unquote, competing with all the time, that you don't get along with, you're forced to kind of get along with. Like, if you go to work, people don't say, well, you're being bullied, people don't treat you nice there, you know, whatever else. Well, sorry, fuck you, you have to go anyways. Like, if people treated you that way at work, that you wouldn't be made to go, but because you're a kid, you got to go. So it's like you build up all of these, I don't want to use the word traumas, but you build up all these traumas, and identify with them and learn that that's kind of, build a habit that that's the way to do it.
Right, or like that's how you are.
Right, and you're stuck in that way for the first 18 years of your life, and then like, you're entering adulthood, you want to be this new person that you're like, oh wait, this is who I am, slow down.
Oh my God,
it's for sure you could get stuck. That's interesting.
And, it was when I was writing my ebook.
Oh, okay.
When we're born, we're a blank slate. Like we are a blank slate, but we've inherited, you know, genetics. We've inherited like things from our families, societal beliefs, stuff like that. And as we continue to grow and evolve as people, we unfortunately also inherit things from society too. And so it's like a continual undoing and unlearning of all of those things as you continue to grow and find yourself and be like the true nature of who you are.
Yeah. Have you come to an answer to that question?
Yes. Yes. I want to be the new version of myself. And I think that I'm doing a very, very good job of being that, and just doing, like, remembering, okay, I'm going to like put an addendum on my answer. Like, who do I want to be? And then what will my future self thank me for?
Okay, that's a good
Yeah.
one. I was listening to something today actually that said, think about when you're 97 years old. What are you gonna like look back and those questions?
I love
And
those.
I know, me too, because it's just like the little things that you stress about. You're like, that's not gonna fucking matter. When you're at that point, I'm not even gonna remember that. Even if I don't die of Alzheimer's, I won't remember it.
Oh gosh.
Okay, so Tony Robbins, he's
Love him.
okay, good.
Hey, Daddy
So,
Tony.
I feel like some people like think he's like cliche, but I love Tony Robbins. Okay, so he says that the only thing that keeps us from getting what we want is the story we keep telling ourselves in our head. So what is a story you used to tell yourself that you now realize was the thing that was holding you back?
Oh, okay. So this was a story that was told to me by people in my life, or maybe it was not directly told to me, but I took it as them telling it like to me. But it was like, I'm not good enough, like I can't accomplish these things, like I'm not capable of doing such and such and such, whatever it is.
So what did you do you feel like to overcome that?
A lot of therapy. A lot of therapy. That and like a lot of positive self-talk, affirmations, and journaling. Like when I journal before bed, I wake up the next day like a new person.
I fucking agree with that. I feel like I've been doing a lot of manifestation journaling and I've loved it because it allows me to set up my days better because it's like, oh, okay, so I wrote this manifestation of like what I wanted my day to have looked like. What can I do today to make my day look like that?
Wait, I love that.
I love it so much. It's so cool.
You have to teach me that.
I fucking will. I'll send you.
I need to know.
No, okay, the whole thing was like making a manifestation for your whole year and like what you want to happen in the year. You sit down and you write like a memoir, like as if it's already happened to you. And then you have a journal specifically for manifestations, and every night you write before you go to bed what like happened to you today, and like, but it maybe it didn't actually happen to you. I typically like to use events that kind of happened, but maybe just like exaggerate them or something like that. Yeah, it's cool.
Yeah, because it's like you're talking like it's already happened.
Right, exactly. Yeah. And so then because you're doing that, you're realizing what it is you want, and then you're going into the next day kind of setting yourself up for things like that to happen. It's cool. I like it.
Steal that.
Yeah, you should. I love it. It's great. So tell us about a breakthrough that you had as a result of a failure.
There's so many. So many. Okay. I got it. Failure was moving to Charlotte for the first time. Wow, I can't believe I just said that out loud. That was part of the reason like why I was like so hesitant to move back to New York like when I needed to, because I didn't want to be seen as a failure. But
that's
I mean, I don't know per se if like the whole move was a failure, but trying to make it out on my own when I wasn't ready yet, and trying to just live life as this adult when I didn't even really know who I was. I think that was like, yeah, that was a failure. I'm just gonna say it. Like,
amen, girl. Say it out loud. It feels good now.
I know, freedom. So that was like the failure, quote unquote, and realizing that I needed to heal myself and find myself before I could try to embark on this new journey in this new city. So the breakthrough was moving back home and finding God to lead me to where I needed to go.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that actually kind of correlates, I think, to my next question. Yeah, it is. So can you talk about a time? So I'm more of like a universe person, but you're more religious, correct?
Yes.
Okay. So can you talk about a time that the universe or God for you redirected you and put you on the right path?
Yes. So it's so weird because I get like these deep intuitive messages, which, again, if you want to correlate it as universe, you can. But like for me, like I always correlated it as God. But I was struggling to like have that relationship with him. Like I didn't know how to pray. I didn't go to church. I didn't read the Bible. Like I was just like, I don't know. And so in my heart, like when I was trying to make the decision, I knew deep down like I needed to go home. Like something in me was like, oh, you need to go back to New York to heal. And I was just like, all right. Like, and then I ended up being there. And that was in March of 2021. But then I kind of got lost a little bit along the way. And I don't want to say I didn't hear from him again, but like it took me a while. And it wasn't until I started pouring all my energy into myself when I had a moment where like I actually heard confirmation from him on all the things that I wanted to do. And then like intuitively knew like, once I got to this point and how I got back to Charlotte for the second time was I heard him tell me, like, and not like a voice in my head, like I'm not crazy. It was just like something like a thought that came to my mind, but it wasn't like from myself, if that makes sense. It was like, okay, your work here is done, like you're ready to go back.
I always wondered what people meant when they said that. And when you and I first got together, I asked you that directly because you said that to me. I was like, what does that mean? Tell me what that means. And I swear to God, Serena, it changed my life.
Really?
I swear to God. I'm so serious because that happens to me all the time. But like, not all the time, like those big breakthroughs like that. But it's like, oh my God. That's what they mean. Like that means something. And then I'm reading The Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle.
Wait, I'm reading that right now too.
You are? Shut up.
Yes.
Oh my God. We should have book club.
Can we?
Yeah. Fuck yes, we can.
Okay, then.
Oh, I'm so excited. Yes, I love it. It's so good. I'm like annotating the whole thing because it's like fucking so good.
Yes.
But in it, I don't know if you've gotten to this part. In it, he says that we're like fucking insane for thinking that, obviously that's not literally what he says, but that we're fucking insane for thinking that like our brains that are made up of like X amount of cells, I don't remember what he used, come up with all of these ideas from like all over the place, like that we can write 600,000 books. There's more than that.
What chapter is that in?
It's one of the beginning. Beginning.
I'm about to start chapter 2. I think
it's in chapter 2.
Oh,
I think it's in chapter 2 or 3.
Hang on, let me do a lot of reading tonight, and then we can have book club.
Yeah, amen. I'm not that far yet, so yeah, I think I'm maybe 4 or 5.
Okay,
but but basically that same thing, that it's like there's got to be a higher power, no matter what the fuck it is that you believe. There's something else out there that puts these ideas into our head, and whether that's God, whether that's the Buddha, whether that's whatever, the universe.
Right.
I like that. That's cool.
Yeah.
So do you think that? Can you talk about a time that you were trying to accomplish something and then God gave you one of those little whispers and you were like, wait a second, that's not what I need to be doing. I need to be doing this. Is that the moving, or do you have like a specific example?
Let's talk about the moving, because that's like the big one that happened for me. So it was like February of 2022, and I was like trying, like I just started pouring all of my energy into content, like my Instagram, like whatever. I was like, I'm focusing on myself, TikTok, blah, 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 blah. Because for some reason, like I always knew that I was meant to be like something, if that makes sense.
Yes,
like,
I relate to
not
that.
trying to be like, oh yeah, like I'm supposed to be Kim Kardashian. Like I'm not saying
but
that,
if the opportunity presents itself.
Might as well. I wouldn't make a sex tape though.
Amen,
sister. Go Kim. So I always knew that I was supposed to do something like significant. Mm-hmm. I just didn't know what for the longest of times, and I felt like fitness was the like key driver to bring me there. And then once I started learning about like the online space, online coaching, all of that fun stuff, I'm like, okay, I know that I'm like meant to change lives in this area. But I feel like a way to get there is going to be through online coaching, online influencing, whatever you want to call it. I was bartending at the time, but I was also personal training in person. So it was not online yet. And I had been working at this for like good, like solid 2.5, 3 months now. And I go to this church event with my friend, and this woman, like, don't know this girl. Her name was Genesis, like, of course, like the rebirth, beginning of the Bible. Love it. It was just so funny, like it's ironic.
Yeah.
But she came up to me and she was like, "You need to leave your bartending job." And I'm like, "What?" I'm like, "Are you sure?" Like,
did you know her? Or
no,
she was just some random woman that walked up to you and said that? How could you not listen? Like, you would literally, wait. Did she know you bartended?
Okay, so she knew that.
Okay. I was like, wait, whoa.
Yeah, because if that was the case, I would be like, whoa.
All right, I'll quit now.
Well, my friend Allie, so she invited me. I was not going to go. I wasn't supposed to go. It was in some random church basement. And she goes, "Oh my God, Serena." Like, she was freaking out. Like, she had stuff going on with her parents at the time. She was like, "Just keep an open mind. Like, this lady's already been saying all this stuff that is crazy. Like, blah, 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 blah." So I'm like, okay, whatever. So we go in. She's talking to her. I'm, like, doing my own thing, like, trying to get into the message and stuff. And then she turns to me. She's like, "Hey, like, blah, blah, blah. I'm Genesis. What do you do? Like, how's your relationship with God? Da, 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 da." Like, I tell her, I'm like, it's not really there. I'm working on it. I don't know what to do. Mm-hmm. To be honest, I'm like, I don't know. Like, I want to have one, but I'm struggling. And she goes, "Okay, so you're a personal trainer and a bartender, right?" I'm like, "Yeah." And she goes, well, I just want to tell you something that God told me to tell you. She's like, it's going to sound a little crazy. I'm like, what? She's like, you need to leave your bartending job. I'm like, oh.
You're like, girl, do you know how much money I make?
Yeah, no, but I'm like, girl, like, I'm making like $5,000 a month right now. Like, I do not need to leave this job. Like, it's the best I've been in a while. I'm like, taking trips. I just got a new car. Like, I'm good. And I'm just like, okay. She's like, yeah, like, God just really has something else for you. And he knows that you've been working and you've been trying. And he sees that and he wants to give it to you. It's just like, she's like, you just can't be serving life on one hand and serving death on the other. And I was like, wow.
Oh.
And at the time, I was like, I don't think it's that serious. But then I thought about it. I'm like, really?
Whoa. That took a second for that to fucking sink in for me. That's crazy.
Yeah, it took a second for me to sink in too. And I'm just like, And then after that, I was like, you know what? Because, oh my God, it was so crazy. So after like all this talk and we like listened to the message, she came, took me to the side. She was like, we're gonna do this exercise. It's called like oh man, it was the 4 R's. I wish I remember what the 4 R's now at the top of my head, but I don't. And she was like, I need you to just like repeat after me. You know, we're gonna go through an exercise and you're gonna like, I'm gonna say like, I forgive, and you're gonna say the person's name, and then whatever I say after that, you repeat after me. So I'm like, all right, cool. I ended up saying 4 people's names. And for every single person, she said, I forgive them for such and such and such. And it was exactly how the person had hurt me.
What?
And she didn't know this about me. Like, it was like, I forgive you for being abusive to me and not giving me like what I needed and not being, and making you feel like you weren't good enough, and like like for every single person.
That's,
and I'm just like,
nuts. That's fucking
and
nuts.
I was bawling my eyes out because I'm like, how does she know this?
Yeah. Okay, so it kind of reminds me almost of like a psychic, and I know it's not the same thing, but like, oh dude, I always thought, I think it's funny that, because I like psychics, I've never been to one, but I just like the concept of it. I know. Well, to me, they can be more con artists, and
that's true.
Compared to Genesis, sounds like she's got her fucking head on her shoulders. She knows what she's fucking doing. But not all of them are, but I think the issue with them that I always fucking think is that they give general answers. Like, for example,
very general.
Yeah, like my aunt went to one. She had just gotten out of a divorce, and so she was like, okay, I'm gonna go to a psychic just to like tell me what I was supposed to do with my life. And she said, say yes to everything. And it's kind of like
very generic.
No shit. However, a couple days later, her friend asked her if she wanted to go to their high school reunion that she normally would have said no to, but she said yes. She met her husband and has now been married to him for 15 years, has 2 kids, all this stuff. Yeah. So it's like, but what I like about Genesis is like how fucking specific she was for you. Specific. And like that just kind of proves that kind of stuff, like the thoughts that pop into your head and all of that. Yeah. Okay. Have you experienced a time you identified with a failure and allowed it to consume you and tear you down?
Oh, yeah. All of them.
Girl. Yes.
Man. I have a huge ego. I really do. It sucks. I'm a Leo. What can I do about
there it is.
I'm a true Leo. My sun and my rising are both Leo.
My sister is exactly the same. That's hilarious.
My moon is Aquarius, so I'm emotional as fuck.
I think she's all 3. She's Leo. She's a little intense, yeah.
Wow. I wish no. So yeah, I'm just like huge ego. And I really think the first time when I had to move back from Charlotte back to New York, I really just like let it eat me alive. Mm-hmm. And I was just like, I just don't want to be seen as a failure. People are going to think I'm a failure. And I mean, I kind of had COVID on my side because my mom's like, well, you know, COVID, and if COVID never happened, you'd probably still be living there, blah, 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 blah. But the reality is, I don't know if I'd still be living there if COVID never happened. Like, I don't know.
And it's easy to be able to use that to,
right. I'm like, oh, yeah, COVID.
Right.
Was it really COVID? Like,
no.
Yeah.
Have you experienced a time you chose to take failure as a lesson instead of identifying with it and allowing it to consume you like you did then?
Yes.
Let's hear it.
I got better at this. Okay, so straight up debt-free journey. Lots of financial things going on just because I lost my job back in August, and it was like very sudden, and so I was like, fuck. So the failure in that was like, okay, like I was fitness coaching online, and I was like, wow, like maybe I'm not meant to be a fitness coach, and for a minute I kind of let it identify me, but then I'm like, you know what, like we're just gonna take this and learn from this. Like rejection is redirection. Like,
yes.
Like, that is God's protection for me. Mm-hmm. Clearly, I was not meant to be working with this lady. She was nuts. If you're listening to this, sorry, not sorry. If you ever listen. So it's like, okay, I learned that that's not what I don't want to be like. And so now how can I like move forward? And then you always repeat the same lessons until you learn them. So this is not the first time I found myself in a financial strife. So I'm like, okay, Serena, you're going to keep repeating this whole like ground level starting from zero shit if you keep on the same path. Mm-hmm. So I'm like really taking that as a lesson and refocusing and like actually creating a plan this time.
Yeah. Sweet. I love that. And I like that you say creating a plan, like, because I think that a lot of the time people that allow it to consume them decide that the things that happen to them in their life they're going to identify with. Like, you could have left Charlotte the first time and been like, oh, okay, so I guess I'm just going to stay in New York forever and live with my mom and I suck and everybody's going to know that about me and I'll just get a fucking whatever job and I'll just sit at home and do that and cry and play victim the whole time. Or you can look at it big picture and say, if I continue to do the same exact thing over and over again, it's not going to get me anywhere. So why did I fail the first time? What can I do to get back down there and try to make it better? Yeah. Even if that includes living with your grandparents, like that still is a step in the right direction to get you more financial freedom. You are not what happened to you.
Like for me, like I don't identify with my abusive relationship anymore. I am a survivor. I wouldn't want to say I'm a victim. I'm a survivor because I'm moving forward from that.
Yes.
I mean, it's not like an easy thing. And I was just fucking making realizations last night about how the trauma that I went through this relationship still affects me to this day. And it's been like almost 3 years that I've been out of it.
Same boat. I get it.
You know? So it's like, I could choose to identify with that and just be upset and like close myself off from people and men and things along those lines. But how am I ever going to be better or learn or have what I actually desire if I don't practice like putting that into play?
Yes.
If that makes sense.
Yes. I like that too, that you're practicing putting it into action, because like, even if you do fuck it up, like you still are learning that, like with the mini fuck ups, like you had the big failure. Okay. So does this work? Nope. Okay. Won't do that. Does this work? Nope. Okay. Won't do that until you fucking figure it out. You got to try 100 things until you can finally be successful. It only takes one time.
Yep.
But it takes more failure.
It's just like fitness.
Right.
It's a trial and error process with fitness and not like the bullshit stuff, but it's like trial and error of like, okay, like what foods fit your routine, what foods do you like, etc. What supplements work for you, what pre-workout might work for you, what gym time works for you, what exercises do you like better, things along those lines.
Because if you don't figure all of that out, it's not going to pan out for you. You're not making it sustainable.
Yes, and you're just going to spin your wheels and just yo-yo diet, basically.
Right. Yes. How do you cope with negativity? So negativity in the sense of like you're having a bad day, something really bad happened to you, something like that. What is your like go-to way of coping with it?
I'm working on this stuff. Not gonna lie, I'm working on it. Going for a walk, I'm gonna say now, that and like journaling, and for me praying, reading the Bible. And when I first started going to church, like people do worship songs, like that's like 30 minutes of the service, and I used to hate it. I'm like, well, not hate it, but I used to be like, oh, like this is so long, like I just want to hear the message, I want to hear what God's saying to me. But now I'm like enjoying the freaking song, singing all, and I'm like, yeah.
I was just gonna say, she's like, sing it.
Exactly. And I went to on Friday. I went to Elevation had like their live recording for their new album, and freaking Maverick City Music was there, and I was like living. I met some girls because I went by myself. I was like, hey, like we're gonna be friends for the night, and so I just had so much fun, like dancing my little heart out.
That's
it was like
awesome.
a concert. It was
That's
so
fucking awesome. I feel like you can gain so much. Like I fucking sing my heart out constantly, especially like if I'm feeling anxious. I like put music on and sing because I've decided that I cannot think and sing at the same time. So I sing out loud to stop the anxiety.
I love that. Yes, singing, dancing, I love your body.
Yes, I like that a lot. I feel like when you are having bad days, a lot of the time my previous mistake that I would always make is like, I would be like, okay, so it's bad. So what can I do to make it better? And then like I'd make it worse because I was like fucking plowing through a bad day trying to make it better.
Right.
But like you have to just like accept it as it is and be like, all right, you know what? Today isn't it. Today isn't it. I'm just going to take a step back and I'm going to go fucking sing a song.
Exactly.
Right.
Do you want to hear a mic drop?
Absolutely.
Okay. No matter how bad your day starts, you can always choose to end it good.
It's true.
It's true.
Because
you can start your day over at any time, literally.
Yes. Oh my God. Okay, correlating it. We're going back
Love
to fitness again with eating. That every meal you have a new opportunity to eat better.
Oh my God.
And I hate that people don't think that. Like people are like, oh, so I had a Pop-Tart for breakfast, so I guess I should eat B-dubs for lunch and Chipotle for dinner.
All or nothing. All or nothing.
Yes, and it's not like that. Yeah, irritates me.
Right.
Amen, right? Okay, so how do you correlate embarrassment and failure? I feel like they're one and the same. Not that they're one and the same, but like with your Charlotte example and moving back, you don't want people to view you as a failure because essentially, right?
It's embarrassing as fuck.
Right? And like that's what, I don't want to say that's what failure is because obviously like you feel your own failures, but I feel like 50% of it, or at least a big part of it, is like other people seeing you fail. And you're like, oh, okay, so the people that all didn't believe in me, I proved them right. Cool, that's cool. It makes me feel good.
So I kind of had this realization too, that because I was so scared of being seen as a failure for moving back and whatever. I'm back in my hometown when I said I never was going to be. Well, wasn't necessarily in my hometown, but like
she's like, I didn't totally fail.
Home city, but you know. And I realized like I was afraid of their judgment. But the only way to receive judgment from other people is if you're judging yourself first already.
I love that. It's so true because like if you, again, like going back to the identification, like if you're identifying with that, like if I say to you, Serena, your blue hair looks fucking ugly, you're going to be like, you're insane. I don't have blue hair. Like you're not, it's not going to hurt your feelings. Right. Or if I sit here and I say something super mean to you in French, like it's not gonna matter because you don't know what it means.
Cool.
Right, exactly. It's like once you're already, maybe that's not the best example, the French example, but
I mean,
like,
but I could say, what do you mean? You can make it up, like, oh yeah, you look so great today, but like really, you're saying some bullshit.
Exactly. Like if you are a talkative person and I say like, oh, you're shy, but you like that you're a talkative person, you know that that's who you are, then you know you're gonna be like, no, I'm not. Like, that's weird. But, like, if it's something you're insecure about, somebody might be like, oh, my God, am I talking to you? I don't want to do that. And so, like, I agree with you. Like, I think that I like the way you worded it, though, that you're not, say it again, you're not judge, unless you judge yourself first.
Yeah, so in order to receive judgment from somebody else, you judge yourself first.
Yeah,
so
I like that.
If you're fearing judgment of other people, it's already because you're already judging yourself anyways.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's cool. Do you ever find yourself dealing with perfectionism?
I want to say no. I feel like it's gotten a lot better.
Okay.
I feel like I'm just like, all right, like I'm just going to get done what I can get done now. Like, for instance, my UGC TikTok. Like, if you go and look on it, I started a whole new TikTok account. It's not growing as fast as I had hoped or wanted, but like, whatever. And so on the account, I make like videos every day, like green screening, like my notes, like, okay, here's what I got accomplished today as like micro influencer to UGC creator. And I write like a little list. And I'm like, you know, like this day I didn't get that much done, but like it's whatever, I'll get to it tomorrow. And I feel like adopting that mindset has been a lot better for me and my anxiety.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So do you think it was a process then, it sounds like? Or have you always been like that? Have you always kind of been like, okay, I can take a step back?
No, it's been a process.
What do you think was the major thing in making that switch?
For me, when I lost my job in August, I was tying my identity and my self-worth to money so much. I think it's because I was making so much money as a bartender, and I was like, oh yeah, I'm happy, I'm living my life, doing whatever. And so I identified with that so much, and I was like, oh man, like my boyfriend's gonna break up with me, like I have to live with my grandparents, like I'm a fucking failure, like all this stuff. And then like I had to take out a loan to pay some of my bills. And there was a couple of times where I was late on bills or late on rent or whatever. And I was like freaking out. I was so anxious. And then it happened. And I was like, oh, I'm not dead. Like being late on a couple of bills, I'm not gonna die. Like, I was having the money to pay it, but it was just like I was a little behind.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Yes,
like
for
I
sure
wasn't
it does.
like dead broke on the verge of homelessness.
Right.
But it was like, okay, like I'm a little anxious and stressed out because I've never like been this late on bills before. But then I was like, what's the worst that's gonna happen? Like,
isn't that incredible too? How easy it is to turn it off.
So freeing,
right? Like, I think it's so funny because I was always the same way, that I would get so fucking hyper about everything. And I was always so angry at people for telling me that it was just as easy as not. And that's one of the biggest reasons I started Wellish, was because it's like, because it's like, that's not a fucking answer. Like, how am I supposed to fucking just turn it off? But like, you know, like when you're younger and people are like, how do you kiss a boy? And it's like, you'll just know when you get there. It's like one of those kind of things. And it's just like, when you're in that situation, you'll figure it out. And when you get to a point that you're like, fuck this, bro. Like, I can't keep living like this. It'll just turn off. Oh my God, Eckhart Tolle.
I was about to say, yes, I was about to say, he just talked about that.
Which part was it?
It was the beginning part where he was like, you have to be in the state of being, and you have so many thoughts all the time, and you have to become the watcher, not the thinker, because you're a slave to your brain if you're not.
He said at a later part, he said, try this exercise. So if you're at home and listening to this, you can try it.
Try it.
But so sitting there, closing your eyes and asking yourself, okay, I wonder what my next thought will be, and waiting for that next thought to come. And then you sit there in silence, and it takes a really long time for that thought to actually pop up if you're actively thinking, like, I wonder what my next thought will be, because you have the ability to, you know, turn your mind off. It doesn't have to be racing all the time. And I talked about this last week on here, is that compulsive thinking is actually an addiction. And we train our brain to compulsively think, and we train it to the point that we've made that our new normal. Like, we think that that's normal now, and it's not. So you're onto something.
I cannot wait to see how my life changes again.
What does resilience mean to you?
The ability to get knocked back down and stand back up.
Do you identify with like being resilient?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
This is a funny moment. So last night at Bible study, we're all going around introducing ourselves, like, oh, you know, my name's blah, blah, blah. This is my favorite flower. So I was like, what flower is mine? I have a lotus flower tattooed on me. So I was like, I'm going to pick lotus flower. And I was like, there's a symbolism behind it. I don't know what it is. I was like, let me look it up so I remember. I looked it up. It's like symbolism because it stands for purity, because it is a flower that rises from the mud without stain. Mm-hmm. Like, time and time again. And I'm like, that's my flower. That's me, baby. Like,
I love that.
I've been so many times, and I have no stains on me.
What a good thing to have tattooed on you. You didn't even know. That's so awesome.
Well, I got it at the time, but I don't remember what I got it for at the time. I just really, really liked it. And my tattoo artist, like, hand drew it, so it's really cool. But because I knew it stood for something, but I just didn't remember what.
Yeah, right. Well, and look at that, fucking putting you on the right path to get something that really meant something to you.
I was the only person who said lotus flower. Okay?
Right, that's sick. I love that. So I feel that resilience is really glorified, and that failure is really looked down upon. But one of the funniest fucking things is that you obviously cannot be resilient without failure.
Yeah.
Failure means that you are going out there and putting yourself out there and trying to do the things that are going to make you successful, and then you're resilient because you have to do that in order to achieve anything in life. Otherwise, you're just going to sit there and be miserable about the life that you have. So how do you think that somebody becomes more resilient? Because I think that like what does somebody have to do in order to gain resilience? Because I think it's so easy to fail and then allow that to consume you. I think it's a practice, like you said, to get to that point. So what do you think people need to do in order to achieve that?
Just do it. Like, I know it's so simple and so cliche, but that's why Nike is my favorite brand. You just have to do it. But big believer in taking action.
Yeah.
Like, you kind of have to put your feelings aside, taking action to get to where you want to go.
How do you think people should internalize or perceive failure?
I think they should be more excited about it.
I agree.
Because it's like you're kind of on the right path. It's kind of like those things where it's like, Oprah Winfrey got denied from a bunch of jobs, and now she's Oprah Winfrey.
Yes.
And like same thing with like Abe Lincoln and stuff like that. It's like
Michael Jordan got fucking cut from his 8th grade basketball team.
Yes, exactly, exactly. So it's like you know you're just gonna continually get better each time after you fail.
I feel like I kind of talked about this, but one of my biggest problems was that I used to think I have an issue with perfectionism, and so I used to constantly think that if I didn't carry something out until the fullest extent, that meant that I failed, and I needed to carry it out exactly as I fucking planned. Otherwise, it meant that I didn't do it, and again, I failed. So when do you think it's okay for somebody to accept defeat and quit? Because obviously you don't want to just try something for 2 seconds and quit, but when do you think is an acceptable time to be like, you know what, maybe I need to redirect?
When your heart's not in it, and especially if it's not in it for the right reasons. I feel like for me, I kind of have the opposite problem. Like I had a problem trying to commit to things, and I tried to start a drop shipping company once. I tried to do this once, and like just was like moving on. I kind of had shiny object syndrome, not gonna lie, but a little bit, whatever.
It's fine.
But I think like it's one of those things where it's like you'll just know. Like for me, like I knew I had to go back home and heal. It's like just listen for that voice or that thought that is not really your thought, because it'll come up and you'll be like, oh, that is not me. Like,
yeah, right.
Where did that come from?
Right.
And so yeah, just being still and being present, listening for that.
I think that a trick is that if your thoughts don't align with your emotions, that if you feel inside of you that it's not the right thing, that's the answer, even if your thought says that. And if you don't believe me, think about literally any relationship that you tried to make fucking work. And, you know, this is the reason we're supposed to be together. And you're like looking for fucking things. Like I used to look and scout out for like tweets and anything that I could see that would be like, oh, we are supposed to be together. But you fucking know inside of you that it's not true. Yeah. Yeah. It happens. It's fine. Is it possible to fall in love with failure? And what does that look like?
Yes. I am not quite at that point yet, so I'm not going to but I do think it's possible, because look at all of the successful people, or quote unquote what we measure as success in today's society people, and they probably had to fail a million times before getting to where they actually are now. Like we just talked about Michael Jordan, Oprah Winfrey, all of those people.
Right.
And I think like we let fear overtake us when it comes to failure, because of the embarrassment, the judgment, maybe the guilt, shame, whatever it is. But love is the most powerful emotion of all, and allows you to transcend everything.
Right.
And so pouring your love into that.
Right.
Like,
because I think that that's a different type of statement. Like not accepting and being okay with failure, but like loving it, I think is like a big thing. And I like what you say. You have to like almost want it to happen.
To submit to it.
Yeah. Yes.
And people don't want to submit.
Yes, exactly. And the way that you do it and not fucking hate your life is by saying, okay, I'm going to use this as a tool.
Yes.
I'm going to take this and I'm going to say, what is this teaching me? Where is this redirecting me? What am I supposed to be doing? Why did I fail? What could I do better?
Yeah.
And using that, and that's almost how I feel you can fall in love with it, because you're like, oh fuck, I failed. Okay, now I got a new idea of what to do. I'm not aimlessly doing stuff.
Right. And just because, and again, like it goes back to the whole thing for money with me. If I fail at something, I'm not gonna die. I mean, unless I'm like doing a stunt or something, or trying to jump out of an airplane. But like trying a new adventure, or going to a new place, or meeting a new person, like, okay, well, what's the worst that could happen?
Right.
Pretty much. Like, realistically speaking, what is the worst thing that's going to happen? Not the whole, like, oh, this is going to happen, and this is going to happen, and then, you know, that spiral of thoughts that you get. No, but the absolute, like, realistic truth of what's the worst that's going to happen.
Yes, I agree. If you could give one message to the entire world, what would it be?
The world is yours.
That was quick.
Because it's been on my tip of my tongue for this whole time.
I love that.
And that is, like, my signature saying. That the world is yours. So I was like, I already know his answer.
Fuck it, yes. I love that. That's a good one.
Yeah.
Where can people find you?
Instagram, TikTok, Twitter.
What's your tag?
@_SERRAYY. So @Sarai.
Sweet. Sounds good. Thank you so much for being here. I really appreciated you.